Good morning. I said you wouldn't hear from me again until after Thanksgiving, but I just make these stories up sometimes. I'm going to show you how I make my sweet potato pie, and it's easy peasy. It's like 7 different ingredients. First of all, I use a not pre-baked, the roll-out crust, and a little vanilla, some ginger, some cinnamon, dash of salt, 2 eggs, softened butter, a whole can of Eagle brand sweetened condensed milk. Make sure that it is sweetened condensed milk. 1.5 pounds of the red fleshed or very dark orange fleshed potatoes. Some people call them yams. Some people call them sweet potatoes. You gotta be getting the ones with the orange flesh. And this is how you can tell, but don't get caught doing it in the store. See that orange? If it's white, you don't want it. Sometimes they'll even put them in the wrong spot. It's such a confusing thing for a lot of people. Put that in a bowl, you whisk it all together, you stick it in the pan, and you cook it just like you would a pumpkin pie. Okay? Now, some people in their recipes, they use sugar and milk. This is going to take the place of sugar and milk, so don't worry about that. Everything's going to be okay. I'll show you when I'm done. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Kendra, and this is my channel. I wanted to give you a real quick tip on this. I put that softened butter underneath the warm, not screaming hot, because you don't want to scramble your eggs, but just the warm sweet potatoes. And then you can mix those together a little bit. Put in the sweetened condensed milk next, and then the eggs last, and you beat them a little bit before you put them in. Now, something I didn't say, and I probably should make clear in case this is your very first sweet potato pie ever, you want to go ahead and peel those. And once you have cooked your sweet potatoes, whether that's in the oven and you put them in the refrigerator the day before, or whether you steam them in the microwave like I did, you just, pop that with a fork and let the steam out if they're hot, and they peel super well. They're not like a russet potato where you have to kind of work at getting the, peel off. Usually with sweet potatoes, those peels just kind of separate on their own before you even try. So get rid of those, throw them away, give them to the chickens, whatever. Now, I use a mixer. I didn't tell you that too. You just saw my whisk. So before I whisk in the eggs and the sweet condensed milk and stuff, I will give it a whirl with this mixer to make sure there's no lumps. You want it nice and smooth. I see. When I shook my whisk, I threw some sweet potato across to my slow cooker. Anyway, so it looks great, and I'm going to start adding the spices. You want cinnamon and ginger, and it's an eyeball thing. You know how much you like. I'm going to say you want 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. How's that sound? Here's a little something I didn't tell you too. If you are using salted butter, you don't need to salt this much, like maybe 1/8 teaspoon. If you're using unsalted butter, you're gonna need some salt. That's just how I roll. Okay, did I tell you to roll out your crust? I think I did. I'm gonna let this soften a little bit more before I put it in too. And next goes the sweetened condensed milk, the entire can. And there we go, that's it. I've got my 2 eggs slightly beaten. I've got the everything, the little bit of salt, the little bit of spices, this whole can of sweetened condensed milk. Now, I make my own vanilla, and I like to add just a splash to the eggs. I was always told that was how to do it. There you go. Not a lot. I would say 3/4 teaspoon to a teaspoon, depending on your liking. So at one time I had a recipe in print for this somewhere, but I've been making this since 1977. Yeah, 1977. So there you have it. Mix that together. Those eggs have sufficiently cooled off. I'm sorry, the sweet potatoes. The eggs were already cool when I got them. Oh dear. So I pour them in there like that. And now I'm going to commence to mixing. Okay, this isn't done yet, but I wanted to tell you, you want to mix it until it's just blended and creamy and looking good. Now, I forgot to set my oven, so it's on preheat right now. I'm going to have to wait about 5 minutes for it to get to 425. You want to bake this pie at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. At that point, you'll kick your oven temperature down to 350 and go another 30 to 40 minutes-ish. Watch it really close. Some people like to put a little tinfoil around the crust edges, or a pie crust guard. I've seen those in catalogs. I've just never ordered one, so that it doesn't brown too much, but it's up to you. It's personal choice. You know, crust is crust. So I'm gonna get this finished up and put it in the pie crust. So there's a secret ingredient to this pie, and it's a pinch of nutmeg. Not really. I forgot to tell you. Put a pinch of nutmeg in there with your spices, because some people think that kicks it over the edge. As you can see, I am terrible about remembering to do things, and so sometimes things turn out differently than they do other times. And if you write things down and you keep it, then you're in better shape than I am. Just spreading the love. This is my slow cooker with sweet potato pie batter all over it. Wipe that off before it turns into concrete, right? Here we go. I just kind of fast fluted the edges around, you know, store-bought crust. I don't know who I'm trying to kid here with the fancy edges. But, you know, they say if it looks better, it tastes better. So my oven's almost ready, and I'm getting ready to put it in. Now, I might do some cutouts of fall leaves out of another pie crust, store-bought, to put around the edges, or just around the middle or something. My daughter has done that before, and it's really pretty, and it's just an extra touch that takes really no time at all when you're using the store-bought crust. I have leaf cookie cutters. Whoa, wait a minute. That means I'd have to go get them out. I don't know if I will or not. They're out in the storage. Okay, my oven just beeped, 425, so we're going to go 15 minutes on 425. Okay, I keep saying, here's another tip, but this, what do you call it? Parchment paper. Not wax paper, but parchment paper. And it looks like this, if you get the Reynolds brand parchment paper. Now, you want to use parchment paper underneath your pie pans if there's any chance at all you think you might tag the pan, because sometimes, you know, pies will rise or bubble over, especially a pecan pie. Those are little devils. These not so much, but I still do it. And I've used the same piece of parchment paper for all my pies so far that I baked for tomorrow. If you use wax paper instead, because you think, what's the difference? Looks the same. It's not. You will start a fire. Ask me how I know. That was fun. Okay, into the oven it goes. Okay, here it is. I just took it out of the oven at that 425, and so you see it would be black by the time it's done, another 30 minutes on 350. So I'm glad that I took it out to put the foil on it. There she is. That was harder than it needed to be. Burn my little fingers. Okay, it's done, and I stuck it with a sharp knife, and that knife came out beautiful, clean, you know, not with crumbles all over it. I can see I've got some crackage here. That's a good place to put some leaves, some pie crust leaves. Well, that's my story and my pie, and I wish it was prettier. That whole cracking thing, that happens though with pumpkins sometimes too. Have a great day. If you like what you see, you want to stick around, say hi, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I love to make new friends, and I'm a chatter, so you chat, I chat. Sometimes you don't even have to chat. I'll just chat by myself. Take care.